What's going on, guys? It's Mike and Mitch from Quickie DFS here to break down Week 7 NFL slate we have. We have Vegas pulled up. I'm going to let Mitch talk about the games with you guys.
What's up, everyone? We got a pretty good implied total right here, 56 between Titans and the Chiefs. It's going to be probably a shootout and a slate where you're either going to have to pick between Derrick Henry or not playing Derrick Henry because of his price tag. But stay tuned, we'll get into that. So we like this Vegas total here between the Panthers and the Giants. Not too good. Maybe if Hubbard was at home, we'd like it a little bit more to play Hubbard, but not a great game. Don't like too much out of the Jets and the Patriots. Bengals and Ravens, I think, could be a really good game for maybe a GPP stack. I do like Green Bay and Washington in cash a lot. And that's a pretty good team total for the slate. It's not really that great of a team total, but for what we got, it's good. I think this game could be a sneaky shootout between Dolphins and Falcons. I like that for a shootout. This could be another good game here is the Raiders and the Eagles. But Jalen Hurts kind of priced up, so we'll get into that, but maybe a GPP play. I love this game right here. We got a revenge game. We got Matthew Stafford going back to the Lions, or not going back, sorry. We have Jared Goff going back to the Rams. And then we have Matthew Stafford, obviously, but not going back to the Lions, but still a narrative game, still a big game for him. But we can't forget it's a big game for Jared Goff, too. Everyone keeps forgetting that, wants to talk about Stafford, but a big game for Jared Goff, so definitely get into that game. Bucks versus Bears could be some value in that game, depending on the news with Antonio Brown. He wasn't at practice today at Thursday, so if he's not there, news on Gronk will also help. And then to round it off, another narrative game, kind of a smash spot for Arizona. You would think Deandre Hopkins would want to, run it up on his old team. But let's get into the slate. We'll start off at quarterbacks. We got hockey pulled up. A lot of slates going on, so bear with us here. We got a lot going on. We're going to have to shorten up these videos because of the amount of stuff we have to get through. We could start talking about the quarterbacks, though. We know who's going to be playing.
So the thing with the quarterbacks is they're priced. A lot of quarterbacks are priced up. I don't really have a favorite quarterback as of now. That's the thing. I'm still going through my QBs. My lower price quarterback that I do like, I'm probably leaning Mac Jones again just because he has produced. He's not my favorite. It's just because he's cheap. I could also see myself playing Taylor Heineke against Green Bay because I don't think Green Bay really has that best of the defense right now. They also are missing Jair Alexander, so that's another thing that will help out Terry McLaurin. And another reason I say that is because I'm high on Ricky Seals-Jones this week again.
Yeah, so Mike talked about the low price guys, so I'll talk about who I'm looking at the upper tier here. I'll go over to Draftkings. I mentioned that I did like Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford, but they're kind of priced up. So if I was going to pay up for a quarterback, I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. I think he's in a great spot to play the Titans. Their defense isn't good. They can go back and forth in this game. And call for Patrick Mahomes to have a really good game. Some of the guys I think Mike may have missed down here on DraftKings. He has Taylor Heineke and Mac Jones at this price, but someone that I think if he does play would be a good play would be Tua. Tua versus Atlanta I think is a good spot. I mentioned it would be a sneaky shootout. He's questionable with ribs right now. Been some trade rumors going on with him and Deshaun Watson, but if he did get to go at home against Atlanta, I think he'd be
I think he's gonna play.
I think he'd be a good option. I do like Joe Burrow as well, but if my two favorite quarterbacks are going to be either Patrick Mahomes or Ryan Tannehill. They're in the same game. Tannehill's pretty cheap. Played on Sunday night, or it might have been Monday night, so he got the cheap pricing.
Yeah, it was Monday night.
So those are kind of our quarterbacks. I'm high on Tannehill and Mahomes. I think they have a good game script, and I also like Tua.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the cheaper quarterbacks like I started off. So you guys heard the higher tier quarterbacks that Mitch talked about. I'm gonna go with Taylor Heineke, Mac Jones. But if I had to pick one out of the two, it's Heineke because I think it's a better matchup for him.
All right, going on to running back, something we just got to address right away is Derrick Henry's price on Fanduel.
Oh my God.
It's up to 11,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah. For me, I'm out.
I'm cool. I'm not paying that.
Even in GPPs, I don't necessarily want to pay that price for him. I think he's, obviously a great player, but it's getting to the, he has to get almost 50 points to pay off his price tag.
Yeah, that's like an NBA price.
Yeah, I'm out on him, and since we're on FanDuel, just taking a look, Cordell Patterson is 8,000. I'm out on that as well.
Yeah, I do. Speaking, I'm not going to play him, but for 500 more, I think I'd rather play Aaron Jones. As Mitch talked about when we were talking about the Vegas odds, he likes this game. And with Christian McCaffrey out, and there's no Kamara on here, there's no Eckler either. So if you're looking for a pass-catching running back, I think Aaron Jones would be the one.
Yeah, he's the next kind of, the next hybrid running back pass catcher that's on the slate, besides DeAndre Swift, who I absolutely love again this week. But I still want to, stay up here in this range. And it looks a little bit better on DraftKings because he's only 6,600, but I still think he's FanDuel playable just because of what he can do, but a little more to stomach there. But 66 on DraftKings, Daryl Henderson, an absolute smash spot again versus Detroit at home. We've seen how big of the favorite they were. So I love Daryl Henderson. I love Aaron Jones this week. I don't mind Joe Mixon, but for the price, 100 more, I'm going to go with Daryl Henderson. You see Cordell Patterson being a lot cheaper here on DraftKings, which is definitely more in play. Mentioned a little bit about Hubbard. Giants aren't good, but I still don't love it because
I'd rather play Swift though for 100 less.
Yeah, it's a price tag thing. I don't and I love Swift every week. He seems to be so good. And I don't know why they're not moving his price tag.
No, Daryl Williams actually is in a good spot too. As Mitch said, he likes that Kansas City and Tennessee game, and I do think Daryl Williams, he filled in last week for Clyde very well, and I think he fills in again this week very well. So I will consider him as well in my lineups this week.
Yeah, he might have done better than Clyde would have done.
Yeah, I think he played 70% of the snaps last week. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so that's good. One person I will mention, I know Mike was really high on him, so he brought my attention to him, would be James Conner if Chase Edmonds was out. We also saw the Vegas odds. If Chase Edmonds were to be out, James Conner would take over, the back, all back role, and he is in a smash spot against a terrible Houston defense. So I'd be high on him. Is there anyone else you'd like to mention?
Yeah, actually, Khalil Herbert, just because, David Montgomery's still out, and Damian Williams has not been ruled in yet.
Where's his price?
He's 5,200. He's right here.
Oh.
So, Damian Williams is still out on a COVID list, and he's going to probably take over the backfield again this week, and his price tag is pretty great.
Yeah, so and once again in play is Khalil Herbert, and the last person I'd like to talk about who I thought maybe really two people, but I won't get into Mike Davis. I mentioned really liking that game script. You don't hate Mike Davis for that price, but someone I think that could kind of have a little breakout game and is just too cheap is Miles Sanders at this price tag. Everyone was talking about how Gainwell might start to get into his role, and he really didn't. Let's pump the brakes on Gainwell. It's still Miles Sanders' backfield. He hasn't done well, so don't get me wrong, but I think at the price tag of 51 on a main slate, you kind of don't mind Miles Sanders. So moving on to receiver here, it's going to be the same culprits, at the top every week is Tyreek Hill and Adams.
Yeah, Adams is my number one again this week, as he was the last 2 weeks. So I'll probably get to Adams before I get to Tyreek, and then speaking of that Kansas City game, I'll probably go Travis Kelce if I'm going to pick a pass catcher, I think, this week.
Yeah, now that we're on wide receiver and you mentioned pass catchers for the Chiefs, I like Miko Hardman. I think he's cheap. I think he can pay off for a salary in a good game environment. I really like him. You don't hate Cooper Kupp. Matthew Stafford's. If you want to go with the game narrative and you think Stafford's going to have a good game, his number one target is Cooper Kupp. He's going to do good. That if that's a narrative you want to go with. There's also, DeAndre Hopkins narrative. I don't think J.J. Watt and Hopkins will let, the Cardinals forget about this game, what it means to them.
Yeah, no, there's actually a lot of game narratives this week, now that I'm noticing that. The thing with DeAndre Hopkins is there's a lot of people around him, and Kyler does spread it around. I think for 600 less, I'll probably play DJ Moore just because Sam Darnold only looks at DJ Moore in that offense. He doesn't really mess with Robbie Anderson. But then if we're going to go even cheaper than that, Calvin Ridley, 66K.
Yeah.
6,600. And that's way too cheap for Calvin Ridley. And Mitch said he likes that game script. So if I'm picking from the top on DraftKings, I'm probably going to go Adams, DJ Moore, and Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I think Ridley by Sunday will be the highest owned receiver on the slate. He will never be at this price tag again. I think it's somewhat stupid that DraftKings did that. I don't know why they did that. Jamar Chase isn't bad at this price. A.J. Brown, I mentioned playing Ryan Tannehill. A.J. Brown isn't bad at this price tag. I mentioned Antonio Brown might be out. Wasn't at practice on Thursday. That would make someone like Godwin, who would be cheap, become a good play. Sterling Shepard's back. He's also someone that's on my radar.
Yeah, he's a very good play this week, Sterling Shepard.
Jalen Waddle, someone that we've kind of been high on all year, scored 2 touchdowns last week. Didn't have the best yardage. You would like more. But 13 targets, that's amazing, especially with Tua.
Those short passes add up, though. He got 10 points just from those short passes, though.
Tua seems
especially on DraftKings, it's a good addition of points. Jacoby Myers is also really cheap. He's only 5,300. He's been disappointing the last 2 weeks, and we've talked about him lately. But he's due up for a touchdown. He hasn't had a touchdown yet, so. Again, I'm going to go back to the well on Jacoby Myers just because price tag, and I expect him to score a touchdown eventually.
Yeah, we seem to talk about him every week, but whatever. Mooney, Darnell Mooney could be a good play. You saw that Allen Robinson was questionable. I see that Mooney's questionable, but doesn't seem to be in threat to miss the game like Mooney. If you want to take maybe a GPP play, where's he at? Where's your boy at? Bateman. Bateman.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, if Watkins is out again, you could play Bateman.
Bateman was their first pick in the last draft, guys, and he's been out on IR. I think it was something with like his hamstring or something along that line of things. And last week there was no Sammy Watkins, but he got 6 targets in his first game back, and he had 4 catches. So obviously Lamar Jackson looks his way. That's something to keep in mind, especially if Sammy Watkins is out. And honestly, I'll still probably play him even if Sammy Watkins is in.
Yeah, they drafted him for a reason. I mentioned Miko Hardman. I do like him at wide receiver. I think his price is fair in a good matchup against the Titans. Especially, I expect to be game stacking that game in a lot of my lineups. So I really do like that. And that's pretty much gonna be it for me at wide receiver. Is there anyone that you?
Yeah, there's one person I want to mention. So maybe like 3-4 years ago, you guys would probably be more on board with this. But AJ Green has silently been really good in Arizona, guys. He's getting targets, he's catching his targets, and he's scoring touchdowns. And if you can give me 6 targets and catch the ball 4 or 5 times, and give me 80 yards, 79 yards, he had 112 here. Against a defense that is not good, and we do expect them to destroy Houston. One of the ways they're going to destroy Houston is passing the ball on them, and I do think he's a very good play. He's silently been very good, guys.
All right, now moving on to tight end here. Travis Kelce's back, and he was in play last week, and I could see him being in play this week. His injury is not significant. He should be, due up for his regular, share of snaps. I think he's a really good play. I mentioned, maybe playing Miles Sanders if you wanted to run it back with Darren Waller wouldn't be bad. I still think Mark Andrews' price on DraftKings, I'm not too sure about Fanduel. But on DraftKings is way too cheap still.
Mark Andrews is the second highest on FanDuel.
Yeah,
I think that's a little too much in my opinion.
He's too high on FanDuel, but I think he's too cheap on DraftKings. So I would like him there. I know that
on FanDuel, guys, which is what I mostly play. Mitch mostly plays DraftKings. I know Ricky Seals-Jones is questionable as of right now. I expect him to play. But I'm not going to think twice about it. I'm just going to lock him in again, especially because I mentioned Taylor Heineke earlier, and he does target Ricky Seals-Jones with Logan Thomas being out. We've seen him gradually trust him more in his games. Another person below him is Zach Ertz. He's in that high-powered offense that we just mentioned from Arizona, and we expect Arizona to blow them out. The only thing with that is if they do blow them out, they're gonna, after the second half, they're going to run the ball. They're not going to pass as much.
Yeah. The one thing with Zach Ertz, he just got there, so we don't know how big of a role he will have, but you would assume if they give him 4 targets that he'll produce 4 to 6 targets. It'll pay off at his price tag.
Hopefully one's in the red zone.
With all the injuries on the Giants, you don't mind Evan Ingram. Kadarius Toney's out. Darius Slayton's out. Shepard's back. Galladay's out. So it just leaves Shepard and Evan Ingram. So you don't like his production recently, but the volume is there, and it could actually maybe even be an uptick in this game that we project to them to be losing it. So they will have to pass a little bit more. For DraftKings, the couple tight ends that I want to mention that maybe not be in play on FanDuel, I want to talk about where'd he go? Mike Gesicki. I was high on Tua. I was high on Waddle. I don't mind playing 2 of his pass catchers, Tua with Waddle and Gesicki, and if you run it back with Calvin Ridley, I think it's a really good option. So that's kind of insight on maybe one of my game stacks right there. But for cash games and most reliable, I'm going to be right here in this tier of Seals-Jones, Evan Ingram, and Tanyan. We like that game, and I don't love Tanyan. I probably would go Ingram or Seals, but I could still see him being in play just because we like that game. Someone else, if both of his wide receivers are hurt, but I expect Mooney to play, would be Cole Kmet. If Allen Robinson were to go down, if Mooney were to go down, it would really open up the game for Cole Kmet. And at 3,000, he wouldn't need to give you much, so you wouldn't mind it. And that's kind of going to wrap it up for us at tight end. At defense, on DraftKings, it's really kind of whoever you're going to land on. If I was going to prioritize one defense, though, it would be the Arizona Cardinals against the Texans at 31. I think that's honestly a pretty fair price for what Arizona should do. And just kicking it over here to FanDuel, look how expensive Arizona Cardinals are on FanDuel. So I think that's a great value on DraftKings if you can get there. Do you have anything on FanDuel for defense?
Yeah, so for my defense, like we said, guys, we don't prioritize. You don't need to prioritize your defense, in our opinion, in cash games. I know Mitch said that he likes the Las Vegas and Philadelphia game, but I honestly like the Philadelphia Eagles defense this week, so that's probably who I'll end up on quite a bit. Like we said, we don't prioritize. We don't really care about it. So it's a cheap defense that I can fit in, and they haven't been bad. I expect them to get some sacks. They didn't have any last week, but they did have an interception. But I'm not like I said, we don't prioritize, guys. It's just whatever happens, really. If I land on someone down here, if I land on the Jets, I land on the Jets, which honestly probably a better play than the Eagles. Yeah. So I might go to the Jets instead this week, guys. Yeah. So on FanDuel, my defense is the Jets.
All right. 2 things before we get out of here. I would like to. I would just like to run through my kind of stacks I'm liking really quick, and then we'll do a bold call. So my stacks that I like, I already mentioned Tua with Waddle and Gesicki, run back with maybe a Calvin Ridley or something like that. My second stack is going to be Chiefs in Tennessee. I like Ryan Tannehill with A.J. Brown, and you could run it back with Miko and either one of Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, but I like Miko and one of them. The last game stack that I want to talk about, I'll leave Mike's favorite game for him to talk about, which will be what's your game? Green Bay and Washington. But the game that I want to talk about is going to be the Eagles and the Raiders. I think could be a little sneaky along with the Ravens, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles and the Raiders, and it would be Jalen Hurts stacked with Miles Sanders and running it back with Darren Waller or a Hunter Renfrow. So I'll let you talk about your favorite game stack.
So the thing with the Green Bay and Washington game is I like both sides of the ball. And an expensive stack, you could go. I don't know how much money you'll have, but we did mention some value plays. You could go Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and you could pair Aaron Jones with them. I know people don't like to pair running backs with their QB and wide receiver stack, but essentially Aaron Jones is also like another wide receiver because there's no other receiver they really have there in Green Bay. I mean, they have Randall Cobb, but Randall Cobb's not Randall Cobb from 5 years ago, guys. On the other side of the ball, I think a Heineke, Ricky Seals, and Terry McLaurin stack is another good one. And you can run it back with either Jones or Devontae Adams. The only thing with that is Ricky Seals-Jones is questionable right now, and so is Terry McLaurin. So that's something to monitor. But I expect them both to play.
All right, now we'll go into our bold calls. My bold call is going to be Miles Sanders. Scores 1 on the ground and 1 through the air. I'm not going to, too much worry about what's happened in the past. I think the Eagles are realizing that they need to go through Miles Sanders, what he's going to open up for the offense. So I'm going to go 1-1 for Miles Sanders. What do you got?
I got Rashard Bateman. I think he's going to score a touchdown this week. He's been on IR. He only played 1 game. He got 6 targets. He caught 4 of them, so there's some trust there between him and Lamar. So I'm going to go with the Bateman touchdown for a value play.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us on Week 7. If you'd like to get the rest of our plays, reach out to us on Twitter @QuickieDFS. Like and subscribe, and that'll be it.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.